So today I decided to bring back my old Titania deck. I'm not really sure why, but this deck just kind of fell off the map. Basically, as soon as Vial Smasher was banned, it just disappeared from the format, and I haven't seen anybody. Not only have I not seen any 5.0s from it, I haven't seen anybody playing this deck at all in quite some time. So it's kind of weak to counterspells. It's a little bit weak to counterspells. It's got some outs. It's probably not as good as Selvala is against counterspells, but it's not as weak to removal because you don't really care if your Titania gets killed, and it costs 2 spells to kill Titania and the 5/3 that accompanies her. And then you've got a bunch of other cheap creatures, and that's another way you can get around counterspells is just by playing cheap things. And so I haven't made any changes to the deck. This isn't the Titania hate deck. This is just the base Titania deck. It's a little bit faster, but it doesn't have the land destruction. So I think the Titania hate deck was probably a little better in the format, at least at the time. But so I have no illusions. I don't. I think there's probably a reason it's not in the format, and it's probably not real well suited to the metagame. But I want to give it a try. I think we can at least get some interesting interactive games in, and hopefully take a couple away, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we got match 1. We are on the play, and this is a lot of lands. The Wasteland isn't going to be good against Jace. Cavern of Souls would be good if I had a creature to play. Myriad Landscape is alright. It goes into our graveyard. Yeah, I mean, it's a slow game. Let's go for it. See what happens. We're bound to draw some creatures at some point. Play the Myriad Landscape first because it enters the battlefield tapped. They do have a few non-basics, so we might be able to hit one of those fairly early. Not this turn. Alright, he doesn't have a Mox. That's good. Alright, well that's not what I meant by a creature I can play. Let's play the Evolving Wilds. Alright, here comes Jace. Play a snow cover. Can we... Alright, it's a creature. And it's a pretty decent one because it ramps us to 5. Unless we get dazed. Force of Will. Okay. I wasn't going to play Cavern on Elves. So this is an Elemental. What did he exile? Slate a hand. Alright. Yeah, let's play the Foothills, say go. I'm going to crack the Myriad Landscape, but not the Wooded Foothills. Keep it. We can make 3 counters, or three creatures, 2 tokens. He can Venture it or unsubstantiate it. There aren't many of those. But they do get around Cavern of Souls. Alright. Looks like he's flipping Jace next turn. Oh, he can commit to memory it right now. Alright. That does work, yeah. That's unfortunate. So... Alright. We're gonna crack the Evolving Wilds. Since it's super awkward otherwise. Although the... Would it fit? I guess we end up with an Evolving Wilds in play either way. Alright. Let's try this again. Hope he doesn't go off with a million turns. He can't target them with Jace if they're not in play. Order of succession. Chooses... Oh. Alright, that's... awkward. Starting with you... No, he had another... Oh, that's pretty good. That makes sense. This lets us get homeward path. Alright. That's actually fine. Yeah, we can't do anything about that. Does this Woodland Bellower get us anything interesting? Woodland Bellower gets us... I think that gets a land, I don't think. Specifically homeward path. So, we could just trample. Yeah, I like that. Play around days. So he's got 6 blocking, so 8 doesn't kill it, but 14 does. And then the rest of them can go at him. Do we play the search for tomorrow? Yeah, we're not gonna have time. We're gonna... Oops. Suspend. We take 10. Well, if he goes after us, he might want to block. He probably doesn't want to block. Alright, Fairy. Untap forward permanents. Alright. Jace. So if he doesn't block with everything, Teferi dies, right? You got anything that kills Jace here? No, not for 3 mana or less. Oh, and Teferi. Oh, so Teferi died. Let's play around Spell Pierce. I guess we lose Karn if we do that, don't we? That's probably fine. Yeah, we can't let him flash things back. Then he takes 10 if he attacks Karn. You replaying Jace? Alright. Let's get a land out of our library. Let's attack. Let's hope he doesn't have a counterspell for this. Can't really play around it. Ugh. Remand. Okay. He's at 8 life. So what can he flash back here? Rapid Hybrid. Order Succession. Order Succession gives us Titania back. Compulsive Research. Alright, well that's a good draw. And that's his last card. Oh, why did you do that instead of... casting it? I'm confused by that. Oh, we can... Okay, that makes sense. Alright, you got a bird. This is free, unless he counters it. Oh my god, I just noticed Homeward Path was in my hand and I played a land. Ugh. Can you counter this? Oh, that sucks. There's like nothing in his graveyard. Let's go at him. He does have 5 cards. I'm worried he could get an extra turn spell and then cast that extra turn spell and then just do a lot of damage to us. He could still kind of do that. I should have grabbed my Titania back. That was a big miss. Alright, compulsive research. So, I don't know, he could still have an extra turn spell and he might just cast compulsive beforehand. Probably not cycle remote isle. Do you have it? Did you draw it? Oh, I hate this deck. I will absolutely block. I can't take several turns of 5 damage a turn. I could have just had that back, though. So that was a pretty big mistake on my part. Yep. It's only... You got another one? Ugin. Alright. Kill that thing. Oh, this frickin' Ugin. I couldn't have stopped the Ugin. Alright, we're dead to the Ugin. Most likely. So I definitely made a mistake, but it didn't end up costing me. And he gains 7 life, which is kind of a big deal. Puts a bunch of permanents into play. And he gets another extra turn. Oh. I hate this deck. It's kind of fun playing it, but man, playing against it is miserable. It does nothing for like 20 turns, and then it just does this. Alright, he got an extra turn spell. There's no point in continuing this. Alright, we got match 2. We are on the play. Playing against Bruce, Tarl, and Tymna. We've got an elf. We got an expedition map. Yeah, we'll keep this. Elf might die. This is Mardu. Interesting color combination. I guess Queen Marchesa is also Mardu. Alright, Mother Runes is good if you are... So... If we Ghost Quarter, Expedition Map, get an Ancient Tomb. So if we... Yeah, we need... Let's go for that. I guess we could have attacked. We actually can't afford for him to trade. Well, we can, but it would mean we're playing Oracle Modiah next turn instead of Titania. Which isn't the worst. It's a Mesmeric Fiend kind of thing? Bloodghast, okay. Well, that doesn't do anything. Do we hit the Ancient Tomb? Because it does damage to us? That doesn't feel right. Yeah, no. I guess, yeah, we would have gotten another land, maybe. Yes, please. Let's get this Ghost Quarter, and then, I guess, white mana? I mean, he gets a basic land, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, if he can't get, if he wants to play Tymna, he can't get red here, or I guess he kind of can. This is a little all-in-y, but it's actually not too bad. We can play the Oracle next turn, and then play another land, hopefully off the top of our library. Alright. So he gets a mountain. Alright, he's vamp tutoring on his upkeep. For what, a lightning bolt or something? It's kind of the least of my worries. Yep. I'm guessing that's what he vamp tutored for. So let's play the Oracle. Do we swing? He might not block. Well, then we take 2 damage. No, Tymna is a concern. He can always mother runes, but then he missed a land last turn. He had to vamp tutor. Oh, come on. Can I get a land? 3, 4, 5, 6. Two more damage. Let's get the Ghost Quarter. Alright. Got a little lucky that he got mana screwed, but it was still a... Yeah, I don't know how it would have gone if he had been able to cast Tymna. It's hard to say. Alright, we got match 3. We are on the play for the 3rd time. This hand looks pretty keepable. What are we playing against? Baral. Alright. Not the greatest matchup. Lotus Cobra is pretty good. If we can get it to resolve. Being on the play definitely helps. Gives us a much stronger chance of getting the Lotus Cobra to resolve. Spell Snare, Force Spike, Daze, Force of Will. 4 cards in his 100-card deck are pretty much the only things that can counter it. They definitely do not always have them. So it's taking a minute. Sometimes it's just magic stalling out, and sometimes it's not. I'm going to come back when it decides to start the match. Alright, it's our play. Let's start with the snow cover. Don't want to put a Verdant Catacombs into the graveyard before we need to. Just in case they have graveyard removal or something like that. Baral doesn't usually play much. Alright, so he gets a look at our hand. Ancestral Vision. So let's open that up. I don't necessarily want him to know that we drew that. There's even fewer spells now, Daze and Force of Will, that counter that. If he plays Baral, I don't think he can afford to play Baral. Did he miss a land drop? I mean... Do we go for it? He does have 1 mana open. He can Force Spike us, which he... Let's attack first. I'm going to play Nissa. If he's got an unsummon or something like that, it's not the worst of my problems. It's always yes, always yield. Let's pick green. Play Nissa. Looks like we've been pretty lucky so far, hitting a bunch of opponents that are missing land drops. We're definitely going to go for it this turn. It's green. Sack this. Maybe I should have done it. Green. After combat is what I was going to say. Alright. We win. Alright, we got match 4. We are on the play for a 4th time. We do have a green land here. We have a Terramorphic Expanse. We're playing against Selvala. Ooh. Alright, we'll keep. So it's a race. think Selvala probably wins a majority of the time. Duplicant's pretty good, but expensive. Alright, he mulliganed to 6. Being on the play helps. If he's got a turn 1 elf, that's pretty bad for us. If I'd seen Selvala, I might have... Yep, bird. I might have wanted a mulligan. Just because of how badly you need to race in this matchup. Because going cultivate and the next turn, it's not great. Allows him a turn to go off. I mean, that's all we can do, right? Because the temple doesn't do anything yet. We can actually, if he doesn't go off, we can just duplicate. You kind of need, like, a creature in play. You can play one of the cheap ones, and then... But there's only 3 of those undercosted creatures in the whole deck. Otherwise, you have to use the mana. He's got up to 5 mana to play something that actually does something. Yeah, he's not using the mana for a bunch of mana. He's using it for 2 mana. So that's a good start. He's also not playing a land, so he's only got access to 4 mana right now. Which means he's not playing Acidic Slime. Unless he plays a land. We can't quite duplicate and then Ulamog. We can... Well, we can duplicate and then Mouth Around him. He's thinking pretty hard here. Alright. That's pretty good. Return a forest you control to its owner's hand. So if you... Yeah, okay. So that gives him 4 mana again. Do you have a cheap creature? You're just trying to decide how to do it? Black mana. What are you doing? Oh, that draws him a card. Oh yeah, he couldn't have done that, and... Alright. He's hoping to get that next turn. And he gets in for 2. Instead, he's going to have to sacrifice a creature. We can Green Sun for 0? So we're doing this. We got 7 mana. If we Green Sun for 0, we have 8 mana. We play the Eye of Ugin. Next turn, we have 8 mana to play an Ulamog. I think that's good. He can't really interact with a Dryad Arbor. Yes, please. Especially not with this limited mana. He can't even recast Selvala. So he's probably sacrificing the Soul Gorger. I don't think you want to makes sense. He can return a land to untap the birds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can just barely cast Selvala if he does that. Okay, he's got a Nykthos. Three visits. Alright. Not something that concerns me. I think I hit the Scribe Ranger and the birds. We still have the Mouth of Ronem. Duplicate doesn't do anything on the attack. He's down to 4 cards. Alright, he can recast Selvala. We can kill Selvala. He's going to have a hard time recasting it after that. Well, that's pretty good, too. We kind of drew, like, everything you would ever want to draw. It was a snowland. So, let's... It's really weird about snowlands. Let's play that. Alright, and then 1, 2. There we go. And then, let's attack. Exile a bunch of cards. What do we exile? Nissa, Carpet of Flowers, Oracle, Ravaging Riftworm? Oh, okay. It's got a kicker. It's vanishing. Okay, so it's an extra cheap creature. That's interesting. It's a 6/6 for 3. We've got this Dust Bowl. We can hit the Nykthos. Fierce Empath and Worldbreaker are exiled. Emrakul is exiled. There's not much this deck can do against Emrakul or Ulamog, except it, like its own Ulamog or Duplicant. Duplicant can do it. Forest, yeah, that makes sense. The Dust Bowling the Nykthos also helps keep him off of Nissa. Yes, absolutely. Let's just pay all the life. Let's play the Lotus Cobra. Let's play the Dust Bowl. Yes. Green. Let's use it on that. Sack a forest probably. And then let's play this thing. I think we sack it on our turn. Or we can block with it. Either way is fine. So he's at 8 life. We exiled Ulamog. We have an exiled duplicate, so we drew out. Oh, nope, we have exiled duplicate. I think that's all of the answers to Ulamog. Alright, and we win. So yeah, that was a bit surprising. We got a little bit lucky. He stalled out on a land, but we were able to play the duplicate. Generally, it's harder to write the turn after you play Selvala. It's harder to go off that turn. There are ways you can do it, but there are fewer cards that can do it. Usually you need to set up the turn after you cast Selvala to cast a big creature, and then the following turn you can go off. Sometimes you can go off right away, but it's fewer times that happens. And so we got a little lucky that didn't happen, and then our duplicate into Ulamog drawing. We drew like perfect in order to make all that happen. Alright, we got match 5. We are on play for the 5th time out of 5. Yeah. There's no ramp here, but, well, there's Priest and Edge. Let's keep this. Do we play the Myriad? Or do we want to crop? I don't think we know what we want a crop rotation for just yet. Although we do kind of want, like, a fetch land. We're playing it against Tymna and Kraum, by the way. Let's play the Myriad. We'll wait. Don't know if it's right. I mean, there probably isn't a right and a wrong. There's just what works out and what doesn't end up working out. This exposes us to a potential of a counterspell on our crop rotation. Mother Runes turn 1 is pretty good. I think we play the Priest because Edge of Autumn might sacrifice us a forest to get another 5/3 at some point in the future. It's vulnerable to removal, but that's okay. We could also potentially draw an elf and then tap it for 2 so that elf is free. Tech Edge. Alright. Probably need to get a non-foil of this. For some reason, Magic Online screwed up all the foil old border cards, and they look all negatized. They look awful. I might have one. I don't remember. I'm not sure. No, looks like not. Looks like he's thinking if he wants to attack. Show version separately. You guys probably don't care. Oh, I have, oh. Yeah, I have the new one. I should be playing with that. I guess he's just deciding to attack anyways. He's been slow playing a bit. I think on our next turn we do want to Edge of Autumn. Because it gets us up to 5 on the following turn. And we might want a crop rotation for a fetch land. I guess we're at 5 on the following turn no matter what. Unless this priest dies. Yeah, I guess we could just Myriad Landscape. Puts a land in the graveyard. It's not a great one. But then we do have the Edge of Autumn to sack a land. And then if Titania does live, we can untap and sack the Myriad Landscape and get another 5/3. I'm going to come back when he decides if he wants to attack or not. So I screwed up the report cording because he actually came right back, and I thought I unpaused it, but apparently I didn't. So I lost the last part of this match. So this is where he yielded to the end of the turn, didn't do anything. I decided, I drew Search from Tomorrow. I decided I was going to suspend Search from Tomorrow and then activate the Myriad Landscape. Suspending Search from Tomorrow isn't great, but, you know, it at least gets us somewhere. So that's what I did, and then I yielded to the end of turn. He sacked his land, got his Steam Vents, and he played a Brain Maggot, and I figured he was probably going to take the Edge of Autumn if he knew what my plan was, but he ended up taking the Crop Rotation. So we go ahead and he doesn't attack, and we sack the Myriad Landscape, get 2 lands, and then one more counter on that thing. We draw a forest. I decide I'm going to play the Tech Edge anyways because he knows we have the Tech Edge. I don't want him to know that I drew a forest. And then we can still play around days here. Get the Myriad Landscape back. And he sacks the Scalding Tarn. And gets an Underground Sea and dismembers Titania. And this is why I guess it would have played out the same way anyways. I would have Crop Rotation for a fetch land if he had taken the Edge of Autumn. So we sacrifice a forest because we want to keep the Tech Edge and the Myriad Landscape around. We get a 5/3. He dismembers. And we move to his turn. I believe he plays Tymna, which is great. We just drew the Beast Within. So he's tapping his Mother of Runes just to draw a card. So we get a Beast Within the Tymna. He's also tapped out. So we get our Search from Tomorrow. And we draw Garruk. So I cast Garruk first since it just... Oh, I attack first. Because, you know, he's not going to block with Tymna. But if he does randomly, then we don't need to Beast Within it. Plus, it's generally correct to attack before making any plays. So we play the Garruk. He has a Force of Will, which is fine by me. Because now we're not getting our Beast Within forced. And that really slows him down when he can't draw cards. Generally, what this deck does is pile on you with card advantage. He plays Creeping Tar Pit from the Tymna. So we're able to stop that. So I get a Temple of the False God. And I have this Traverse the Ovenwald. I have 9 mana, not 10. Well, I have 10 total. I can't play Ulamog. So I actually spend a minute thinking about it, and I end up getting the Primetime. I can get the Eye of Ugin with Primetime. I cast Primetime, hoping it doesn't get countered. We still have 3 open, so Mana Leak, Supreme Will, can't counter it. And Primetime drops, and I get Eye of Ugin. And I get Homeward Path just in case. It's the safe play. It's a little, you know, it doesn't ramp me up. It doesn't give me a Nykthos or anything, you know, special like that. but it's still good. I attack. This is a mistake because he can block with the Mother of Runes, or block with the Beast and tap the Mother of Runes to protect it. He also knows that we're empty-handed. So that was a mistake. On his turn, he plays Jace. And he uses it to brainstorm. He gets a wasteland and kills our Ayabugan. But we can get Ayabugan back with Titania. We draw a duplicate. Doesn't really do anything at the moment, but if he plays another Tymna, then it does. So we get, I think I got Wasteland and Dust Bowl. Just, I want to kill his lands, and I'm hoping the Titania sticks around. So we're attacking at Jace. He decides not to block. And then we play Titania. We know that he doesn't have a Force of Will, so he can only have a Daze. And then we've got this Tech Edge. And then he says, good job, Moto. I don't know if he meant to block or something. Blocks still aren't that great. You get to keep Jace around, but you give me the crop rotation back and you lose both of these creatures. I guess you could protect the Brain Maggot or the Beast, but you still, Jace takes 2 damage. Or if he's complaining about his draws, I'm not sure. Yeah, we won. So, yeah. So we went 4-1. Unfortunately, I already opened the treasure chest. I got a couple of play points and some nonsense cards. I got another Sliver Legion, but they're worth like 30 cents. In regards to the deck, we got a little lucky. Some opponents kept some greedy keeps, and they didn't end up paying off. I don't know how that Baral matchup would have went. It probably would have been pretty tough. I think the Tymna decks are probably a decent enough matchup. You can go over the top of them. You do have some removal to deal with Tymna. Some of it's a little slow, but some of it's pretty good. It kind of hinges on if you can deal with their Tymna. But then, you can cost them card advantage because Titania is really good. And then, they have to either, hit 1 card for 1, or take a 2 for 1 or something like that. So, but the deck definitely does still have weaknesses. I don't know if a 4-1 is indicative of how it would do in the format as a whole. Jace, I think, is probably pretty bad. Jace is really good at slowing you down, and then it just goes off, and that's probably a pretty bad matchup. Baral's alright, you can win, you can lose. It can go either way. You don't have much removal for Baral, so if you give him enough time. And I don't know how Brea would go, so, we got a little fortunate. We got some really good draws. Just incredible draws in some of those games. We got lucky that our opponents kept bad hands, and then they didn't end up drawing lands. Although, those were probably just bad keeps. You need to draw 2 or 3 lands to make those hands that we saw good. And playing against Titania, you can expect your lands to get destroyed from time to time. So, I think those were really, really greedy keeps, and our opponents should not have kept those. But you definitely can't rely on that for, all your tournament wins. But it's still a fun deck, and I really like it. I don't know why it's completely disappeared. Yeah, I had fun. So thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.